What is up, YouTube? We're back with Mini Metal Fab, and today we are going to be building another Stage 4 motor. Our first Stage 4 motor here has not been doing too hot recently. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all the billet parts out of that and put them in our Stage 1 motor here. They're both non-hemis, both 212s, Predators. So we're going to take out the governor, low oil cutoff for this, weld the block shut, and put all the billet parts into this one. We're also going to be shaving the head, porting and polishing on this one. That head's already been shaved, ported, and polished, but we're going to shave it more and port and polish it more on this one. We also have stronger valve springs coming and roller rockers as well, and stainless steel valves coming for this thing as well. So it's going to be an all-out build, getting a new carb, everything. It's going to be insane. So here's our Stage 1 212. First thing I got to do is take this entire thing apart and clean it all really good, get it ready to be welded, because the block is actually going to be getting welded where the governor hole is and the low oil sensor is. We're going to weld these shut so that way nothing can leak out, and it'll make it just that much stronger. Now that I got the side cover off the pull start and the heat shield, the exhaust, the governor, and the coil, I gotta drain the oil. Alright, so we got the motor more disassembled, got the spark plug out, the valve train apart. The only thing left in there is still the valve springs and valves, but those we'll do with the head off. So next up is flywheel. So I'm gonna show you how to take the flywheel off without any special tools. All you'll need is a pry bar, a hammer, and impact with a 19 mil socket on it. Alright, so first you're gonna impact your nut off. Just like that. Take those off, and then you're gonna take the nut and you're gonna thread it back on. All the way till there's just a little bit of nut sticking out past the threads. So that way, when you hammer on this, you don't mess up the threads of your crankshaft. Alright, so then what you're gonna do is take the pry bar and you gotta put it on the solid part of the block right here. You're gonna put it behind your flywheel, like so. You're gonna stand on it. And you're gonna pry out, and when you pry out, you wanna hit this in. Give it a good whack in and pull out. It'll pop, just like that. And then you got your flywheel off. See how that wobbles now? Perfect. And all you do is just unthread your nut. Your flywheel will pull right off. Big heavy cast flywheel like that. And all that's left is to take this out right here, your key. And you can use vice grips, or you can get a screwdriver and put it under there and just tap it up, and it'll tap it out right there, and you can pull it out. Alright, so now I got the motor completely disassembled. Side covers off. Governor's out. Low oil cutoff is out. Got the entire pin out for the governor. Normally there's a pin that goes right through there. And that's out. Head's off. Still take the valve springs out, but that we'll do in a second. Pistons out. Saved all the gaskets too, which is a huge plus, because then we won't have to get any new gaskets for the thing. So side covers mint. Valve cover is mint, head gasket's mint. Alright, so if you take notice here, on the crankshaft here, you have two gears, a worm gear and a straight gear. You don't need the straight gear if you take your governor out. So you can hammer this off. Put a screwdriver here, a flathead, and tap a little bit there. Put it over here on this side, tap more, and just work yourself back and forth, hammering the thing off, and then you can throw that away as well. Weight reduction, every gram helps on rotating mass, saving weight any possible way. All right, so we got the valve springs out and the valves. So now the head's ready and the block's ready for this hole, that hole, and that hole, all to get welded shut tomorrow, and head to get milled 45 thousandths tomorrow in my shop. And then we're gonna port it and polish it as well. Do the self job port and polish. and then it's gonna be getting stainless steel valves. So it should be good. And we're gonna give this a good clean now. Clean the whole block, clean the whole head, get all the dirt and grime out, make it look brand new again. This thing is dirty inside and out. Next up, we gotta start tearing that motor apart to get all the billet parts off of that. All right, so we're here at my shop. We're gonna weld up that hole there, that one there, and this hole right over here. Make a nice TIG bar. Alright, all the gas tank mounts are cut off, rounded over. Got bare block now, ready to be reinforced. Governor holes welded, everything's all welded up except for reinforcement plate. I made this right here, and that's gonna sit right there just like that and get welded on just there like that. Reinforce the top of the head and help disperse the heat. Tilletons come factory like this, but people do it to Proto 212s when you have them fully built so you don't crack the top of the head or the top of the block. Alright, so we just got the plate tacked on. It's looking pretty good. Got it fully welded now. I did the top side. Doesn't look the best, but there's no room to work in there at all, so working with what we got. This side came out pretty good though. I got all the welders and the fins down there. I just gotta do the bottom and the other side. It's coming out good though. Alright, so I got the reinforcement plate on. Looks good. Welded to all the fins, both sides, top, bottom, all the way around. Block is ready to be built. Lighter and stronger than ever.
Alright, so right now we're back assembling my motor. Just came back from the shop, had the aluminum reinforcement plate welded on, had the governor holes all welded up on both sides and the front. Right now we're putting back on the billet piston.
I think your piston definitely fits in here tighter than the other one.
That's good. On the motor that's going on the quad, unfortunately when we first staged to it, it was honed by mistake. So the clearances on that were a little bit too large, so now the billet piston with the new oil rings will fit much tighter and have just the perfect clearances. Alright, now it's all hand tightened.
Time to torque.
Yep, and then switch to the socket. Have a torque wrench right there.
To torque a billet rod, you're gonna need a 12-point quarter-inch socket, and you're gonna need inch-pound torque wrench. Okay, because you gotta torque it to 175 inch-pounds or more, according to our instructions. Make sure you read your instructions when installing, so that way you know what to torque yours to, because it may be different. So you're gonna start at 60 inch-pounds, and you're gonna work your way up in increments of 20 inch-pounds, all the way up till you hit your torque point.
Remember, this is inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. Working our way back, top and bottom, all the way up to 180. Fully torqued down piston arm, 179 inch-pounds.
Now we're oiling up the cam to install it. You don't want to put anything in your engine dry. You want to make sure you use some either assembly lube or the oil you are going to be running for your braking. Where is it?
Gotta pull the shims back.
This is coming around here last time, remember?
That's why I had it off. I sort of jumped the gun earlier. I was ready to put the cam in. Pulled the shims off, had it all lined up, and then like, you forgot to put the piston in. Pulled the shims back. Now we have to align it with that dot right down there and that dot right on the cam.
Just like that.
So we really simple process.
Back. Now it's time for side cover.
Technical error. I was cleaning off the side cover, and brake clean decided to spray back right in my eye, so that's always a fun time. But luckily the hose is 10 feet away, so took care of that. Now we get to put it right back on the side of the block, fill it with oil, make sure everything's spinning nice and smooth, and we'll be done for tonight, except for the head. So if you're like us and you don't have the right specialty tool to torque down your side cover bolts because they're hex heads, you grab yourself a 6mm stud for like a multi-piece tool and a 1/4 inch just regular socket, 6-point preferable, and you can just slip it right in and torque it right down to the right foot pound. And just go along and do that with all of them.
Alright, so we just torqued down the flywheel. So the whole bottom end is assembled now. So we're gonna fill it up with oil. So you put about a shot of this after you put 1/2 quart of oil in your motor. This stuff's really sticky, so it sticks all over and really helps everything stay really lubricated. Really good stuff. Cap back on. Bottom end is complete. All it's missing is the coil and the pull start.
Single looks nice with all the shiny billet parts on it.
Yeah, very
Alright, so I'm on my way over the Brandons right now. We're going to be getting it ready to port and polish the machined head. I'm bringing over the Dremel tool, and I'm going to be getting it just another step closer to be putting back together.
Alright, so we just got the head back from the machine shop. We had 40 thousandths taken off of it instead of 45 thousandths because we're using a thin head gasket, and we figured 45 might be pushing it for valve clearance. So we got 40 taken off. So now I'm going to show you how to port and polish. This is what the bottom of the machine head looks like. Very beautiful. So now you want to port the intake, and you want to port and polish the exhaust. You don't want to polish the intake, because if you polish the intake, then what this stuff called fuel atomization, which is when the air and the fuel particles get swirled around in here and mix. They mix together and into the perfect air-fuel ratio. If it's perfectly smooth, the air-fuel will just slide right in, and the fuel will kind of stick to the walls and build up. And after enough builds up, it'll eventually just let go, and you'll get a big gush of fuel going in with little air. So you'll be running lean and then rich and then lean and then rich. Not ideal for racing or going fast. So what you want to do is you want to get a Dremel with sanding bits. We got all these ones for drill attachments, sanding attachments, carbide bits, all these different things. Polishing pads for buffing and polishing. You're going to want to get some aluminum polish. Then what you want to do is you want to take your sand bit, and you're going to go in here and you're going to sand out all the rough edges. You don't want to take too much out, but you want to just open it up so that way the fuel and air mixture can flow right in really smooth and really well. All the sharp corners in there, you want to get rid of all of them. Starting to get somewhere. You don't want to take too much off, but you really want to cut it all down really good in there. Like, see how we're starting to open it up in there? That's the intake side, so we're gonna leave it nice and rough. All the sharp lips are out. Looks good. Now time for the exhaust. All right, so we just got done porting and sanding the exhaust down. As you can see, it's nice and shiny in there and smooth. So now we're gonna take some aluminum polish, which any kind of metal polish will work, and one of the cotton wheels on the Dremel, and we're gonna buff it and make it nice and shiny and really, really smooth.
All right, so we just got done porting and polishing the head. Again, we have the intake side rough to mix up the air and fuel as it goes into the head. And then on the exhaust side, we opened it up a bunch and polished it, and it'll flow nicely outside of it.
All right, so we just got a shipment in from OMB Warehouse. Thank you for them. We are not sponsored, by the way, though. We got head studs and side cover studs, full stud kit for the block, stainless steel valves, 26-pound valve springs, billet lash caps, and 1.3 ratio lightweight roller rockers. These things are beautiful. And a new head gasket, of course. So first thing we're gonna do is install the side cover studs. We're gonna take the side cover off and put all the studs in.
All right, so we just strained out the oil from the motor and then pulled off the billet side cover. Now we're gonna go ahead and put in the stud kit. Yeah, gonna make everything much more stronger.
All right, so we got all the side cover studs in. Now we're gonna install the head studs. Got 2 in, finger tight, we got 2 to go, and then you gotta tighten them down with the wrench.
So while Brandon's putting in the head studs, I'm gonna be putting the billet side cover right back on to the motor.
All right, so we just got the side cover done and the head studs. So now we're gonna install our roller rockers and our new stainless steel valves and stronger springs and billet lash caps. So first thing we gotta do is we gotta remove those 2 studs for the rockers. All right, so we just got done lapping the valves. So now we're installing the stronger springs with the new lash caps.
Little trick we usually put a socket underneath the valve, and that just helps it compress way easier than trying to squeeze it from underneath and from the top at the same time.
Yep, and you just push down instead of trying to push and pull.
And the
Get
difficulty
your
is
in.
on these non-hemi ones, these retainer clips are always a pain.
Yeah, they're hard to get in. You have to push the valve really deep.
Oh, and then they always pop right out of place. There's probably some even easier ways.
Spring compressors make this easier, but we don't feel like buying one of those.
So nothing can be easy as usual with this motor. We were unable to use the billet retainer caps or the stainless valves because they're meant for a wider valve train.
Wider valve seats.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so we couldn't use either of these, unfortunately.
However, we were able to get in the 26-pound valve springs. So now we're going to be copper coating our head gasket, and that'll
Some of this. Whenever you do a high built motor, you want to spray this on your thin head gaskets so they don't leak. You want to give nice even coats back and forth so the whole thing turns a bronze color. You don't want to put too thick. You don't want to get any runs with this stuff. And you let it tack up for about a minute or two. Let it dry a little bit, and then you can put it on your head. All right, so there's a head gasket on. Look how beautiful that looks, copper coated like that. Got the head ready to go on. Got the studs in. Now you just take your head, find the studs, drop it on. Make sure your heat shield's out of the way. Look at that. And then put our stud bolts in, torque it down to 20 foot-pounds. All right, we got the head on, torque down, the head studs. Now we're gonna put the push rods in, and the new roller rockers, 1.3 ratio.
There we go.
Alright, so we just got the roller rockers mounted. Now we're gonna set the clearance at 3 thousandths. The valve clearance. 3 thousandths on the intake, 3 thousandths on the exhaust, according to our cam specs. So now we're gonna turn over the motor by hand to see if everything clears.
Everything's clear. You can see like the spring alone kind of turn the motor back.
Oh yeah, strong valve spring now. Got our heat shield, the valve cover on, spark plug in. I'll turn it over again and make sure everything clears again.
Ooh, lots of compression.
Oh yeah. Alright, so we just got it done. Exhaust is on, everything's on. Vent breathers, carb, everything's torqued down, oil's in it. It's ready for first start. Hopefully it starts. Alright, first start. Go ahead.
Ooh, pulled nicely.
That's good. Oh.
That was a choke.
It could be because the carb's not tuned right either.
That's 100% possible.
And there's not enough gas in it. It looks insane. And we broke the pull start, so we need a new pull start too now. Unfortunately, we ripped it and broke the spring inside there, so it doesn't recoil anymore. You can see beforehand videos on TikTok and Instagram at Mini Metal Fab to see what we're doing before it actually gets posted on YouTube, because the YouTube videos will always come out later than what goes on there. So follow those to see what's coming up sooner if you'd like. And thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and the motor is gonna rip. Next video, you'll see us put it on the bike and actually try it. It ran, but we don't have enough gas right now, so it only ran for like a second. But it does run, and it sounded good, so we'll see how much power it makes. Should make around 20 or more.